Sometimes it feel like the whole world's against me. Years of the Henny that bet me, I be in the zone. Gazing at the walls, depressed, picking the phone. They take it personal, but only your mind if you could understand what a nigga feeling. 41st till I die, motherfuckers. I'm still breathing you with mud, so we full bread. You ain't my dog, trying to infiltrate the clique issue. I get with you, into that on a later note. We overdose every day, the devil so close. I'm trying to tell these cats, but I let them do their thing. Ready for the bad news till the phone ring. Son is dead now, anyway. Over my head, seeking revenge, son. Ben, son, on your behalf, trying to laugh out the drill gun. Seal guns, play the hum. For real sons, for you motherfucking hoes.
Hello everyone, welcome to another live stream. So I hope everyone is doing well and I hope you can hear me. So let me just check if we are online. I'm also gonna have to stretch out TradingView a little bit to the right. Okay, this is okay. So let's check streaming. The sound is working as far as I can see. Okay, cool. So, welcome everyone to NFP Friday. We did have NFP news. If we go to the euro dollar, it came in more bullish than expected. Okay, so it came in more bullish. We can actually also take a look at the Edge Finder. If we go to a new tab and we go to the Edge Finder, and then we go to the US economy. So that's kind of the highlight for today. Okay, that's the most important thing. For the week as well, I have been waiting for this for pretty much the whole week. So as you can see here, non-farm payrolls and the unemployment rate came. The first number came in, the actual number came in the same as the forecast. Okay, and then the NFP number came in better than the forecast, a little bit better. So this is kind of a neutral reading, the unemployment rate, while the non-farm payroll number is a bit of a bullish reading for the dollar and for the stock market. We were kind of expecting some worse numbers. Let me also open the chat. I forgot to open the chat. Come on, chat. Okay, chat is here. So yeah, numbers. I was expecting a bit worse numbers, to be honest, because we had the ADP number, which was kind of a sort of forecast of what the NFP number could be, and the ADP number came in much worse than expected. It came in at 37K and the forecast was 111K, but in the end NFP came in even better than the forecast. So yeah, a bullish scenario. This is net, or should be net, bullish for the dollar, and should be bullish for the US economy as well. Okay, so those are the two things that the NFP has the biggest reaction on. If we take a look at the euro dollar, for example, the price action was not that significant. Let's take a look at the S&P right here. Yeah, definitely a bullish reaction. On the Nasdaq, it's pretty much gonna be a bullish reaction as well. Yes, okay, NFP. Another thing that is happening is there's a lot of drama currently between Trump and Elon Musk. So if you go to Tesla, I think it's selling off quite heavily. Yeah, so because of this drama, there has been a pretty big sell-off on Tesla, around 25%. So yeah, everything that is happening in terms of politics or in terms of, let's say, business, so we know that Elon is the main guy at Tesla, is being then directly reflected in the price. I do think long-term Tesla is a bullish play. I do like Tesla as a stock. I think they produce amazing cars, even though I hate electric cars. I think they do produce amazing cars and they will have amazing products in the future. So I think long-term Tesla is definitely a buy. Tesla has had a lot of haters over the years, but every time there is a massive amount of haters, they just get crushed in these massive bull runs. Okay, so don't underestimate the power of this stock. It's pretty similar to Bitcoin, you know. Bitcoin has a lot of haters, but Bitcoin doesn't care. Bitcoin just keeps pushing to the upside. You don't want to be on the wrong side of such a big uptrend. So that's about it of what has been happening in terms of, where is my trade? I put it in here. It's going to be on the 1 hour. Ah, here it is. So that's about it in terms of what has been happening. Now, I'm in two trades right now. First one is on the New Zealand yen. Second one is on the pound dollar. Okay. NJ and the pound dollar. This first trade I did break down in the last live stream, I believe. So this one has been running all the way from the 22nd of May. From back in May. One more cool thing for being long on NJ, you actually get paid swaps. Okay, so it all has to do with different interest rates. But for example, the Edge Finder has a cool carry trade scanner right here, where you can see exactly which is the best opportunity. Okay, it's currently not working, but it usually tells you what is the best opportunity in terms of swaps. Now, how much do you get paid extra with swaps? It's not a lot, maybe a couple of euros per day if you have like, I don't know, let's say a 50K account, and you take this trade similar to what I did. So it's not a lot, but it's still much better than paying negative swaps, because negative swaps can really eat into your profits, especially if you're holding positions for a couple of weeks, maybe even a month or two. So that's why I like this trade as well. Now, still trailing the position. My current stop loss is, if we go to the daily chart, my current stop loss is underneath this swing low right here on the daily chart. So for this fundamental strategy, I am trailing my stop loss. And I like the daily chart. I like this swing low on the daily chart to trail this position. And currently it's running around 2.5 R, something like that. I do have an alert set here on these highs, okay? And the game plan on the highs is to possibly take half of the position off. So around at a 3-to-1 risk reward, as you can see here, around the 3-to-1, I'm for sure gonna take half of the position off. I'm thinking about taking the full position off, but I do believe we can go up a little bit more, possibly to this resistance level on the daily chart, possibly to here. So yeah, the main game plan is to take half off if we reach this level and to let the rest run with a trailing stop loss, and I'm gonna probably close the full position if it hits this resistance level right here. Okay, and this is definitely a great trade. It has been a great trade so far. Almost looks as good as, let's say, the gold trade. Just a second, I got a message. Almost looks the same as one of the gold trades that I had back in, I think it was in March or April. So yeah, looking good. The second trade that I have is on the pound dollar right here. I took this one on Wednesday. Yeah, on Wednesday. So this is pretty much a fresh trade. If you have been following my live streams, and if you have been inside of Zentum Trading in the free Discord, where you do have access to my daily forecasts, you would have seen that the pound dollar has been looking very nice for buy setups. If you go to the daily chart. So first thing, I can show you the fundamentals. If you go to the top setups and you search up GBP USD, you're gonna see that the fundamentals are very bullish. Why is that? If you do a little bit more digging, if you go to the UK economic heat map, you can see pretty much all of the numbers are coming in bullish for the currency, for the pound. So the actual numbers are coming in more bullish than the forecast numbers. See, so 85% of the numbers are coming in better than expected for the currency. Not so much for the stocks, because inflation is different, has a different impact on the currency and on the stock market. Rising inflation actually has a bullish impact on the currency, while, let's say, lowering inflation or slower inflation has a positive impact for the stock market. Okay, that's why there is a difference here between the CPI and PPI for currencies and for the stocks. But anyway, you can see very bullish. If you go to the dollar, yes, it had a good NFP number, but overall we are kind of bearish. Only 38% of the numbers are coming in bullish. Rest of them are coming in either neutral or bearish. So it's not looking that great for the dollar. I do think dollar has a bit more downside. Okay, let's just minimize this. Go to here, minimize here. You can check out the DXY, which is the dollar index, and this one displays kind of the value of the dollar relative to all of the other currencies. And as you can see, it has been in a major downtrend. So the dollar, let's say, weakness has been going on for quite a while now. And I do think it has room to continue lower. Okay, so that's why I liked the pound dollar to go long. Also, we have broken out of a key level of resistance right here. See, broken out of that, and then retested it and then continued up even more. So pretty much in this area, I have been looking for buy setups for quite a few days now, and I finally did get one. I got a flag, which is an entry that we use in Zentum Trading. Very simple. So this is the flag. First high, first low, second high, second low. The blue candle is the entry candle. So this was looking good. This setup, the technical setup, does not look anything special. So I have a second strategy, or the OG strategy, where I really need to look at the technical analysis and find the perfect setup. But for this fundamental strategy, I don't have to get in on a perfect technical setup. So the setups can be a bit, let's say, dirty, if you want to call it that. See, the impulse is not that big. If I'm being honest, there's a bit of selling pressure inside of the flag. I was also looking for this flag to get in, but the fundamentals were not that bullish at that point. I was looking for this break and retest to get in. after this nice descending channel. Descending channels are usually bullish patterns, but yeah, I should have kind of gotten in here. I would have gotten in at a better price. But this level is okay. I'm happy with it. Currently in some drawdown. My stop loss is around 110 pips. So below this, my stop loss is below this swing low. And if price hits the stop loss, it'll be fine. Just part of the game, part of the probabilities. We will see what will happen. That's why I have the green flag on these ones, because I'm in a trade. Some of the other setups that I like are gonna be the DAX, the Nasdaq, US 30, Bitcoin, and silver. Okay, so Bitcoin and silver actually do look very good right now. And let me tell you why. So for Bitcoin, a good thing that we have is we have a risk on environment, okay? Which means the stock market is going up, economies are doing well, you're getting some good numbers out of the United States, mostly good numbers, okay? It's nothing bad. Also, we had the massive tariff scare, which is now kind of done, so the recovery is already here. It has been going on and it may continue. Recovery meaning the stock market, where we just heavily sold off and then we pretty much went up almost back to the all-time high. So we are clearly in a risk-on environment. I was looking for a bit of a pullback to get in. Now we're getting that pullback. I was also looking at this level of support to get in, and we have reached that level of support and we bounced off. Okay, so we reached it and then we rejected to the upside. So right now, zooming in on the 1 hour, I didn't find an entry because we just basically went up with 0 pullbacks. But if we do get a bit more bullish momentum and then like a flag or something like that, I think that would be pretty interesting to look for a buy setup. Okay, nice uptrend here. If it continues up and then a flag, I would be pretty happy to get in. I would of course have a pretty big stop loss as well, something that makes sense on the daily chart. So if we go to the daily chart, would I use such a big stop loss? Nah, this is kind of too big. I could probably do some fib analysis. So let's say this is the impulse and then fib retracement. I haven't used this in a while. Oh no, I need to change the colors as well. 618 1. Okay, here. Let's see now. Okay. So basically, no, I think it should be, no, it's fine actually, I think. 618. So possibly I can put my stop loss. Let's say I get in here, I can put my stop loss underneath the 618 level. So that would be a pretty healthy stop loss in my opinion. James, camera is frozen. Okay, crap. Let me reset the camera. Give me 1 second. This also happened in the last one. I'm not sure why. So I have to delete the camera, then add a new source. Video capture, add. Done. Okay. Okay, so it should work now. Thank you, James, for the heads up. If you can just confirm that the camera is now working, that would be great. I do think it's working. Let me check my stream. Yeah, I do think it's working now. Works now. Awesome. Thank you, James. Thanks for the heads up. So that could be a play for me. Bitcoin looks good. I'm looking for buy setups. I like this price. We have pulled back. One of the things that I don't like to do is I wouldn't like to get in straight on the top. So when we were at the all-time highs at 111,000, it would be kind of silly to get in here, especially because we just broke out of this resistance. So it's a bit more efficient to wait for a pullback. You get a better risk to reward here than, let's say, here. If you buy on the top, you can have a tighter stop loss and you can aim for this high for your first take profit if you choose to do so. I personally choose to have a trailing stop loss. That's the way I have been trading for years now, and that's the way that is my favorite style of let's say, taking percentage from the markets if you spot an uptrend, especially on assets that trend on a long-term sample size. So assets like stocks, gold, silver, Bitcoin, all of those assets trend higher over time. So your trading edge is to just keep buying, or just trailing your stop loss higher and higher and higher until you get a massive reversal. That's why I now like this level, because we actually had the pullback and we could be ready. So we could be ready to actually continue up. If you want to look at some patterns, this could be a potential cup, and then a handle forms, and then we go up. You know, it's a very popular pattern that people like to trade. I personally don't use it, but you could make a case for even a head and shoulder pattern, like inverse head and shoulders. This is the left shoulder, this is the head, this would be the right shoulder, and then we could go up. Okay, so that could be the case as well. Silver is another one I like a lot. So I would highly suggest paying attention to what silver is doing. Let me give you a couple of reasons. So if you go to the Edge Finder, and if we take a look at fundamental analysis, top setups, silver. So for silver, you can see the current bias is neutral. One of the things I do like is commitment of traders is bullish, meaning the big institutional money is long, okay? And you want to follow what the big institutions are doing. You want to follow the institutional money. Seasonality is bullish as well. What does this mean? Well, if we take a look at the seasonality index monthly, if you type in silver, silver likes to trend in June, okay? So here is June, as you can see. For example, April, May, June, July, August are all positive months. This is the last 10 years of data. So usually this sort of Q2, Q3 is bullish for silver, which is another good sign. So we're not getting a clear bullish reading. It's still neutral according to the Edge Finder, but I do like some of these things. But the thing that I like the most is this breakout. Okay. We have been ranging around for quite some time now. Back in October 24, we got stuck in this range, see? And now we have broken out of that. Also, one more thing that I know is silver usually likes to follow gold. And if you have been following gold for the last couple of months, you can see that gold has just been crushing higher with so much force. It was a massive, massive bull run, okay? A massive bull run. Let's say from from April 24, around a 40% increase. While silver is definitely, or has been definitely, lagging from gold. The uptrend has not been as powerful. So one of the cool indicators that you can use is if you type in XAU USD, XAG USD. This is the ratio of the price comparing gold to silver, okay? What you can notice from this price is that gold has been very overvalued compared to silver, but this is coming down now, possibly coming into this equilibrium, right, where gold and silver is sort of fairly priced between each other. So in the last couple of months, gold has been highly overvalued when compared to silver, but this is now coming lower. And if this chart continues going lower, silver should be gaining a lot more value. I do think there's a very high chance that we do get into this equilibrium, that we do get into this area, which means bullish price action for silver. So I'm personally looking for buy setups. I would like to see, so we had the breakout, I would like to see price retest this level and then bounce and then show me an entry on the 1 hour chart. Something I was considering was getting in on this flag right here. We had a flag entry. First high, first low, second high, second low is right here. So we did have a flag entry, but I was a bit skeptical. Okay, I was a bit skeptical that this daily candle will just immediately retrace back into the range. Now the second daily candle, so the breakout happened yesterday, and now on Friday we have actually continued to break out even more. This is a good confirmation that this breakout could be for real. If we do retest this level, bounce off, give me an entry, I would be interested. Or possibly if an entry forms right here, like a flag on the 1 hour chart. Let's take a look back on the 1 hour chart. And let's say we pull back a little bit, continue, give me a flag. I would be pretty happy to get in on a buy setup here on silver. So I like this level, I like the price action, I like the story behind it. Even though there's not a clear fundamental bias, I'm gonna look for setups. That's why I gave it this sort of, what is this color? I thought it was gonna say, looks kind of orange or something. If you don't know, I'm bad with colors. I actually failed the test. When you have your driver's test, you have all of those colored dots, and you need to spot a number or a letter inside of the dots, and I couldn't do it. So I'm pretty bad with colors. I can see like the traffic lights. I just cannot see clusters of colors. I think this is like orange or possibly even yellow. Anyway, the rest of the stuff is gonna be indices that I'm watching. So the DAX, the Nasdaq, the US 30. So if we start with the Nasdaq, I like this. It looks very bullish. If you look at the Edge Finder, search up the DAX, you're getting a bullish score. Okay, bullish score of 5. Europe is doing massive spending into its military budget, which should pump some German companies. Okay, it already has, and it could continue. So there's a big bullish story. Also, investors may be moving from the United States into other markets, and one of those markets could be the DAX, could be the German stock market. That's why I like this. I don't want to get in. I don't want to get in here on the top. I would like to get a little bit of a pullback. Okay. I would first like to get a little bit of a pullback, and then I would consider some buy setups like this. So that's my game plan. That's why I have an alert here. This is a nice area of support where we could bounce. We already did touch that area. With this candle, I just wasn't really ready to take an entry. But if we go back to that area, I'll be pretty happy to take the risk and try to get in. If it starts going up without me, I'll probably look for a different pullback and then to get in on a flag setup. So we'll see. We are kind of slowing down a little bit, so maybe a pullback could happen. But also if it continues, doesn't matter, I'll get in a bit higher. So Technoslavia says that he made 200, I guess, euros in the Nasdaq today. So let's see that. Nasdaq. Yeah, I mean, today we definitely had a pump to the upside. Let's see on the 1 hour chart. Yeah, so also after NFP, you know, we got some bullish NFP numbers. So that's bullish for the Nasdaq, that's bullish for the stock market. So we went to the upside, and here we had some uptrends as well. So yeah, nice, congratulations, that's awesome. I know a lot of people like to scalp the S&P 500, or they like to scalp the Nasdaq. It can definitely be done, but you have to be okay with short-term trading. It's a lot of things going on at the same time. The emotions get very heated, I would say. You don't have a lot of time to think, so you need to be pretty fast on your feet. But if you like it, or you can try it, and if you like it, you can make some decent percentage out of it. A stat that I heard that most professional scalpers, like the big ones that operate with, let's say, millions and millions of dollars, they make around 2 to 3% per month. Okay, 2 to 3% per month. They grind it out, and their statistics are very consistent month on month. So they usually don't have big drawdowns, and usually all of their months end up positive at the end of the year. And you may say, well, 2% or 3% per month is nothing. Well, it is nothing on a 10K account, but if you have $1 million in your account, 2% or 3% per month can be a very significant sum. So the big traders are operating with, I would say, $1 million in equity and more. Okay, I don't think they have less than maybe like 200, 300K in their trading accounts, especially for scalping. I do think they have a very big capital amount. The Nasdaq was actually the second one on the list, or not the second one on the list, but the next one on the list. I have been trying to get in on the Nasdaq for quite some time now. As you can see, it just keeps running away from me. So it just keeps moving up. The pullbacks are not that deep. Some of the support areas I was looking at was this one, Now possibly I may need to move it a bit higher. So look for setups here. Again, I don't want to get in straight on the top. The reason is, let's say I aim here. If I get in here, my risk reward is screwed. But if I get in a bit lower here, look at the stop loss and look at how the take profit increased, and look at how the risk reward got a lot better. So risk reward is very important. And it's not the smartest thing to try and catch the price. You'll get into a lot of trades. You may not be able to handle it. Your account may not be able to handle good risk management because it's tough to do good risk management on indices with, let's say, a 5K account. It's pretty tough. If you have a prop firm account, then it's a bit easier because it's usually a 100K account. On Forex, it's okay because they have very small lot sizes, but on indices, they have bigger lot sizes, or they have bigger minimum lot sizes. On Forex, it's usually 0.01. On indices, on IC markets, for example, the minimum amount you can put in on the Nasdaq is actually 0.1, okay? It's 0.1. You can't do 0.01. And that presents an issue if you have a small account. You cannot do proper risk management. So I have my alerts set. Let's move it a little bit higher to here. Do I think I'm gonna be able to get in before we touch all-time highs? I don't think so. I am pretty happy that I have some long-term investments. So I did buy the Nasdaq, I did buy the S&P, but it's a pretty similar thing. I think I bought it here, here as well. So I bought it 3 times during the crash, and that is now paying off nicely. Let me just check if I open my interactive brokers. Yeah, for anyone that wants to invest into the S&P 500 for like the long term, interactive brokers is a pretty good option. Okay. Yeah, the account is doing pretty nicely actually. Damn. So we are going higher. I do think there's a very high chance we're gonna go to all-time highs in the next, I would say two to 3 months, definitely. Maybe even in the next 4 weeks, because we have started to slowly grind to the upside, but we are very close to all-time highs here. Let's see the S&P. S&P, yeah, S&P is pretty close as well. So let's go back to the Nasdaq. I want to see a pullback. Hopefully we do get a pullback. And also guys, if you have any questions or any chart requests, I have the chat open on the side. So just go ahead and write the message, and we will break down any charts that you guys want. The final one for the fundamental strategy is gonna be the US 30. The US 30 is interesting because it still is not that close to the all-time highs. Another interesting asset would be the Russell. So that's kind of small caps of the US stock market, 2,000 companies. As you can see, it still has a lot of room to go to the all-time highs. Right, a lot of room. It's actually moving higher right now. It wouldn't be that bad to get in on this one, but I'm closely watching the Dow Jones. The Dow Jones, I'm also getting a bullish reading on the Edge Finder. If we go to the Dow Jones, very bullish reading. You know, everything is in the blue. Pretty much institutional money is long, retail is short, so you want to be long. Seasonality is good. Fundamental numbers are good. I like this. I like the Dow. I would like to see it break out a little bit more, show me a little bit more momentum, and then I would consider some buy setups on the 1 hour chart. The summary would be, I'm in NJ buy, I'm in pound dollar long as well. I'm currently looking for entries on Bitcoin and on silver, and I'm waiting for more price action development on these three. I need to see some more price action development basically to look for some setups. But I think Bitcoin and silver do look interesting right now to buy if we do get some high probability entry setup on the 1 hour chart. That's what I'm looking for. In terms of the OG strategy that I trade, which is 6 currency pairs, purely technical analysis, only the 1 hour chart, I'll do a quick overview. The dollar pairs are not doing anything special in terms of high probability technical analysis patterns. Let's see the Aussie dollar. Are we descending here? No. We're kind of moving in this range-bound price action, to be honest, on the dollar pairs. What is looking interesting is the JPY pairs. I especially like EJ and AJ, so I'm looking for buy setups on EJ and on AJ. Okay, I don't think we will get any buy setups. We finished here with a huge wick. That's not good. EJ, no longer that interesting, but AJ is looking interesting. Okay, we did break the high. We didn't get a lot of momentum. We kind of broke and retested, or broke and retraced. Is this H? Yeah, this is a counter trend candle. What I do like on all of the, I'm not gonna put it on the watch list yet. I'm gonna do a deep dive over the weekend for like Zentum traders into these currencies. But now a brief overview. Dollar pairs don't look that good for this strategy. JPY pairs, they're definitely moving up. You know, EJ is in an established uptrend, looks very strong. I do like this. Did we have any like breaking news? Let's see, JPY news. On the edge finder, if we go to the Japanese economic heat map, okay, let's see that. Well, it's kind of 50-50, okay. Yeah, household spending was the last data set that we got, and it ended up being bearish for the currency. But overall, 50-50. You have some bullish, you have some numbers coming out better than expected. You have some numbers coming out worse than expected. You have some numbers coming out completely neutral. So the JPY is kind of nowhere. But the Euro looks strong, Aussie looks strong, New Zealand looks strong. New Zealand is especially strong. That's why I have a fundamental play. Okay, that's why I have a fundamental buy setup on the New Zealand. What I would like to see going into the next week is just a little bit more bullish momentum, and then I would look for entry setups. Just a little bit more bullish momentum. They all look to be trending higher, so I do like what I'm seeing here. Yeah, that's about it for the currencies for the purely technical strategy. Some of the other things that I have on the watch list is some of the most popular assets, such as the S&P, which we mainly covered already. Okay, so the S&P we pretty much covered. It's very similar to the Nasdaq. I'm focusing on the Nasdaq. Okay, let's check the score on the edge finder. If we can compare that, top setups. So the Nasdaq, they're getting similar readings, but the Nasdaq is a bit more bullish because institutional money is actually heavily long on the Nasdaq. That's why I prefer it as well. You can see COTS, Commitment of Traders report. That means institutional money. And for the Nasdaq, it's blue, it's bullish. For the S&P, it's kind of neutral. So that would mean that institutional money is heavily buying the Nasdaq, but not so much the S&P. But I'm bullish. I'm focusing on the price as well. I'm just seeing a pure uptrend, very small pullbacks. We kind of tapped this area of support, rejected, went higher. So bullish. The VIX is just going lower. The VIX is, just trending lower actually. Creating lower lows, lower highs. That's good. Usually when the VIX, that is the volatility of the S&P 500 index, usually when the volatility is going down, the stock market should be going up. Okay, it's an inverse relationship. When the stock market goes down, volatility usually goes up. Okay, volatility usually explodes to the upside. That's why you have this huge uptrend when the tariffs were announced. Okay. So this is good. You kind of, if you're bullish on the stock market, you do want to see the VIX going lower and actually trending lower. Some of the good areas that the VIX could settle at, well, if it can settle in this kind of area, that would be pretty bullish for the stock market. Then we would get some nice uptrends. So yeah, that's something that we would want to see. Gold. Let's cover gold. That could be interesting. So for gold, I'm not looking for buy setups right now. The reason is I am in a risk on mode, which means I'm looking for buy setups on the stock market, and gold is the exact opposite. So gold likes a risk off market. If we look at the fundamentals, let's search it up. Let's see. How are we doing? I think it's actually bullish. Yeah, we're getting a bullish reading on gold. Institutional money is long, which is interesting. Retail looks to be long as well because we're getting a negative reading. You want to do the exact opposite of the retail. Seasonality, trend, some economic data is bullish. Some of it is bearish. Okay. So the economic data is mixed, but the sentiment is also kind of mixed. The technicals are bullish. Okay. I don't really want to risk it here. As you can see, gold is currently ranging around, not really moving anywhere, kind of stagnating. In my personal opinion, Silver is much more interesting, okay, because it did break out of this major resistance level. So silver is my top pick for the metals market. Gold I'm being more patient with. If we get some problems with the tariffs, if we get some more trade wars, if we get some more wars, if we get a crisis or anything like that, I will be bullish on the gold market. Okay, let me check if the camera is working. Yeah, it's working. Cool. Cryptos, Ethereum pretty much doing nothing. So we had this downtrend right here, then explosion to the upside. After that, no man's land. So we are now ranging around from pretty much, let's say, the 11th of May. So for almost a month, Ethereum has been doing nothing. My top pick is, of course, Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin looks a lot more interesting. I think it looks a lot more healthy. It is near the all-time highs. Ethereum is lagging a lot. I'm not really the one to be going long on Ethereum. I know some traders like to choose the lagging asset, okay? And currently Bitcoin has always been the leading asset, and altcoins such as Ethereum have been lagging assets, okay? So lagging behind Bitcoin, you can see the all-time high for Ethereum is, if we can load the price. Can we load the price here? Yeah, all-time high is here. We are nowhere near the all-time high. If we want to go back to the all-time high, we need to go up 92%. I mean, in the crypto world, it can happen in just a few days, if I'm being honest, or maybe like a month. I just like to play what is working right now. And that for me is Bitcoin. Bitcoin looks very healthy, especially because institutions have come to let's say, accept Bitcoin. They have kind of come to terms that Bitcoin is here to stay. A lot of companies are starting to use Bitcoin. A lot of people are starting to use Bitcoin to send money to each other. So I think in the world, there's more and more acceptance of Bitcoin and its technology. If you ever did a bank transfer, then you know that sending Bitcoins, it's much faster, much easier. Is it more reliable? You could say it's more reliable as well, but it's much faster. Okay, it's kind of takes 15 minutes or maybe 20 minutes. A bank transfer can take 3 to 4 business days. No one wants to wait 3 to 4 business days to send or receive money. So it's just so much better than bank transfers. Okay. US oil. I did have my alarm go off for US oil. So for this one, I'm not really looking for buy setups right now. Let's see the fundamentals. US oil. Bullish. Okay, interesting. Yeah, I'm looking at this level of resistance. Right now, I would say we are pretty flat and range bound. I would like to see a breakout of this level to the upside. And then I would maybe consider some buy setups. Until we do like convincingly break out. So until I see a convincing break to the upside, you can also paint a trend line. I did see Trader Nick paint a trend line here. So this is also kind of a key area. If you're into trend lines, if you like trading the trend lines, there's also another one right here. This one is pretty significant, not gonna lie. Yeah, see, this is another trend line as well. So yeah, I would need to see more bullishness for US oil. Something I have been mentioning in the last couple of live streams is if oil goes into this territory around the 50 mark, then that's a big problem for oil producers. At these levels, some of the oil producers are starting to become break-even companies or even net losing companies. investments into oil fields, into machinery, into equipment, into pumping that oil out of the ground is pretty expensive. So you need to keep the price of oil high if you want to make any profits on your investment. And this price level, I do think the big oil companies want to defend, right? No one from big oil wants to see the price go to here, because then their profit margins get extremely small and they could actually start losing money, which means they're gonna need to close down their sites. Okay, so that's something that's interesting, and it makes for a bullish scenario, right? It makes for another confluence to be a buyer in this market. You could say because of that, it's even better to look for buy setups at this level, right? And oil has been going lower pretty much. Yeah, in 22 we had really expensive oil prices. And then we just went lower from the top. Let's see. Wow, 50%. I mean, you can feel it at the gas station. I'm always like pumping gas. And I can really see that gasoline, I think in 22 was priced around, I don't know, like 1.7, 1.8 per liter euros. Okay, so maybe even 2 euros per liter. And now it's like 1.4 or 1.5. So it's definitely cheaper even at the gas station to fill up your car than it was. We had a massive explosion in the price of oil. And the current equilibrium, it is kind of around here. You know, we had a massive crash in 2020. This was a massive issue for a lot of oil companies, COVID. Yeah. So this could be kind of an equilibrium of the price, where the price likes to settle. It definitely liked to settle around this level for the last couple of months, or you could say for the whole 2024. But it's not something I'm closely watching. In terms of the dollar index and the Japanese yen index, so these things are pretty important. Just check the stream. These things are pretty important. And they tell you the strength of the dollar relative to most other currencies. So if you know the general direction of the US dollar, well, then you know if you, let's say, know or bet that the dollar is going to continue going lower, which I'm currently kind of thinking. I am thinking that the dollar could go lower. Then you could focus on going long on, let's say, the pound dollar, euro dollar, Aussie dollar, Bitcoin against the dollar, gold against the dollar, okay? Silver against the dollar. Usually when dollar loses strength, even assets such as gold and silver appreciate. Right now, I think the situation for the dollar is pretty bearish. I did think that today we are gonna get bad NFP numbers. We didn't. We got kind of bullish NFP numbers. So if you go to the Edge Finder and we look at the US economic heat map, you can see the non-farm payrolls, unemployment rate, and NFP came in better than expected. The actual number came in better than the forecast. Okay, so that was bullish. Overall, yes, it is a bit of a bearish impact if you add and subtract all of the numbers. But I would say I couldn't really say I'm a big bear in terms of fundamentals. In terms of technical analysis, if I look at this chart, I would say that the sellers are in total control. I can see the price. Malcolm Trade's camera is frozen again. Oh, okay. Thank you for the heads up. Why does this happen? I'm gonna have to look into that, but thank you guys for the heads up. Okay. Should be back. Yeah, DXY. Technical analysis. Thanks, Malcolm. is bearish. Just the trend line going here, we cannot break out of it. If you look at the candles, it's mostly red candles. It's mostly selling pressure. The buyers really cannot get control. If we go to, let's say, the monthly chart, let's try to see some significant support and resistance levels. Well, this was definitely, or it still is, a very strong support level. I would say this is a key level for the dollar. If it does convincingly go lower, I mean, the first level of support could be this low, but I would say it's this. I would say the next massive level of support is all the way down to 89 or like 90. Okay, so if we do melt lower, we can melt lower a lot more at the levels where we were, let's say, in 21 and 2018. We were actually even lower back in 09 and 11. Interesting. Let's see what will happen. I do have a buy setup on the pound dollar, currently in some drawdown, but more weakness in the dollar would work nicely for my trade. So we will see what will happen. The next big currency is, of course, the Japanese yen. I mean, the dollar and the Japanese yen are, I would say, the two most important currencies in the world. You could say it's the euro as well. Okay, so you can put three currencies. But most investors, most traders, they focus on the dollar and they focus on the yen as the two most important currencies. The yen right now, well, if you look at the fundamental data, if you look at the Edge Finder and we go to the Japanese economic heat map, it's again 50-50, you know, pretty similar to the dollar. You really couldn't say if it's very bullish or very bearish. You're getting some good numbers, you're getting some bad numbers, you're getting some neutral numbers, but it's not like, for example, the New Zealand, which is extremely bullish. You know, we're just beating every single expectation, just beating it. See, not for stocks, but for the New Zealand dollar. Very, very, very bullish on the New Zealand dollar. But yen is just neutral. So technical analysis is also neutral, kind of. You know, I'm seeing some selling pressure, I'm seeing some buying pressure, I'm seeing the price be in kind of no man's land here. I really couldn't give you a bias. For the dollar, I have a clear bearish bias. But for the yen, I really couldn't say. It's kind of in no man's land. It's kind of range bound. We will have to see what will happen in the future. We will have to see some more convincing uptrends or convincing downtrends, such as we had, let's say here. See this one? This was a massive weakness in the yen. Okay, back in 24. Wait, was it? Yeah, here we had a massive uptrend. I had a great trade here in July of 24. I still remember it. It was a massive trade on the Aussie yen and New Zealand yen, where I just went short on both of them and it paid off very nicely. So I'm kind of waiting for this sort of a move, this sort of a move, this sort of a sell-off. I just think we're in no man's land here. So I don't have a bias on the yen. If I had to give a bias, I would be bearish on the yen, and that is being reflected in my New Zealand yen trade. All right. But this trade was more, I took this trade because the New Zealand was extremely strong, right? I didn't take it because the yen was weak. I took it because the New Zealand was very strong. At that point, actually, the yen was a bit weak, but I also liked that I'm getting positive swaps. So I'm not paying to hold this trade. I'm actually being paid, getting paid to hold the trade, like a couple of euros per day, which is nothing, but it still feels better than paying swaps. And kind of the final one I have for you today is going to be the US 10-year bonds. If you guys have any questions or any chart requests, you can put them in the chat right now and we can take a look. because I will soon be wrapping up the stream. Let me just check if the camera is working. Okay, the camera is working. US 10-year, what is it doing? It's overall creeping higher. Why does this matter so much? Well, the US would love if this thing could just go down, because then the debt that they have, which is massive, the US has a massive debt that they need to pay off. But if this chart goes down, the interest rate on that debt gets a lot lower, right? So they would definitely want for this thing to melt lower. Unfortunately, it's creeping higher, which is not a good thing for the US. It means the debt is just getting bigger. It means their interest rate payments are getting bigger as well. It means people actually don't really want to buy their debt, so they need to give a higher yield, okay? So the summary would be this. If this chart is going up, it's kind of bad for the United States. Could be also bad for the stock market. If this chart is going down, it's pretty good for the United States, pretty good for the stock market as well. Right now, we're creating higher highs on the daily chart, so it's not looking the best, right? Trump tried to do some magic here. He tried to do a lot of tariffs. When he took office, he actually succeeded because the yield went drastically lower, okay, like minus 18%, but then it just kept going higher. Right now, it could get back up to these levels, okay? It could get back up to those levels. Let me see the monthly chart on this. Wow, this is interesting. So we kind of flattened in 2020, and then we just kept going higher. Yeah, it would be a pretty bad thing for the United States if this thing just kept climbing higher on the monthly chart and on the daily chart, of course. Interesting stuff. Does the stock market care right now that the yield is overall going up? No, it doesn't really care. The stock market is just recovering and is just pushing to the upside, as it has been doing for the last few decades, just trucking higher. So my advice is for the stock market, follow the price, right? You don't want to sell into this market. This is extremely strong, very bullish, and yeah, I'm looking for buy setups. Fundamentals are good. It's a risk-on environment. Technical analysis is good. Yes, there are some problems here and there, some scares about tariffs, possibly problems with the US-China relations, possibly problems with the United States and Europe in terms of tariffs, but the stock market currently just doesn't care, okay? So yeah, that's about it. Thank you everyone for watching. If you guys want to get updates on when I'm gonna be streaming, you can find me on Instagram at Marcos Trading Journey, okay? All of the updates about my live stream schedule go there. Usually I live stream every Thursday at around 5 p.m. London time. This week it was on Friday because it was NFP. NFP is a very important news event. Also, if you want to get free access to my daily forecasts, okay, I write up a forecast every day. I write exactly what am I looking at, why am I looking at these setups, what is good about them, what is bad, am I taking any trades, am I in any trades? So yeah, if you want to get access to that, it's basically a full breakdown of the strategy with the trades I'm taking. You can get access for free at zentumtrading.com. Join our free Discord. Okay, so I'm also gonna put it. It's in the description of this. Trading.com. It is in the description of the live stream, but you can also copy it from the chat. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys next week